and I'll be updating the packet going forward, is the item number 3, the project sheets. The hard copies are right here, and I'll be updating the packet to show examples of some of the part of the discussion. I'll send that out later this afternoon.
One quick question
Great,
before.
thank you.
I
Do we
guess
have
one
any
quick-
public comments?
Nope.
Hearing none, let's move to administrative action or items.
Hold on.
Steve, go for it.
Josh is trying to talk, but I don't know that we can hear him. Sorry.
Hey,
Oh, Josh
Can you-
from Chapel Hill Town.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hold on, Josh. We're trying.
Hey, can y'all hear me now?
Can hear you now.
Cool. Just a quick check. Did we? I don't think we've removed online voting completely, right?
No, we didn't.
Cool. Then I'd like to be.
We allowed it.
verified.
It was allowed. Virtual-
Yeah.
can you-
Hello.
All right, there you go.
You may have to turn it down.
All right, great. Take us away, Nish.
What's on your agenda is the September minutes. Any questions, concerns on the minutes? If not, looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move. Second.
Moved by Meg, seconded by Matt. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed?
All right, the next item. Your work plan order to amendment. These were released for public comment. And they're back here to find out if we had any comment and what the recommendations are.
And are there any changes to this? And if so, please let us know. Because the one that you have in your packet is the one that was released as approved in the last meeting. The memo was drafted and the project will released for public comment. If there are any changes to this, please let us know so we can incorporate any changes.
This should be Durham staff working group, go triangle to not move its bus stop and property operations and make this proposal forward. We had already released this for public comment here at this group. What should we do with that? What's the, what is go triangle requesting? Sounds like it's not consistent across the 3 counties at this point. The bus stop and property operations and maintenance item did not get included in the Durham staff working group.
And I don't see Jay on mine.
So, Meg, just to give you a little background, Doug, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So if I'm not mistaken, Go Triangle put in a request to eliminate the light rail project, but then utilize those funds to put an O and M project or operation and maintenance operating costs. So it was, I think it was a net neutral of 10 or 15 years. But during the discussion, the staff working group, specifically Durham County, mentioned that they would prefer to do something like that as part of the work program, not as an amendment. So I'm not sure what Go Triangle is planning, but I think it's the same. But one thing I would note is Wade does have an operating and maintenance project sheet. So I think either way, they would be consistent. It's just the question, I think, Doug, to your point is, do you want to move forward or not?
Be the same across all 3 counties. So I would advise.
Sometimes we can't control that.
Well, one thing, my question is, would you be removing the amendment of this project sheet? You are owning the project.
It would be both, I guess, to remove the light rail and the O and M and put that as part of the 24 work programs.
So the amendment is only seeking the other 2 projects.
I think the amendment is, I gotta relook at your amendment, but the only reason I really know all this is I actually was writing the memo to Go Triangle for it over the weekend.
Would it be possible to move to recommend the Hillsborough Park and Drive and the TV operation support? Recommend those go forward and postpone action on the bus stop and property operations and agents until we can circle up with Wade and Durham to get those the same.
Yeah, I would think that would make sense, but I would defer to Manny. I can't speak for Go Triangle.
Yeah, that's what they're on to want to do that every time. I hold out your hope that we can have.
So I mean, part of that does fall on the county. Orchestrate that. Any sponsor that has, like for us, if we have a project in Orange and Durham, we want the agreement to be the same clear with both of those counties.
And just so you know, I remember having this conversation, I think at Durham West, that work group, and, you know, Go Triangle did this because they wanted consistency with weight. But they also just evaluated that the LRT is minimal cost, so they were like, let's just remove the LRT project, which is something that probably should have happened sometime. And just be consistent with weight on an O&M project. And then that's when Ellen was like, we should probably do it as part of the FY26 work program, and I think Jay concurred. Go Triangle can do that.
So we can do it that way, because we got 3 months to develop the annual work.
Right,
program.
well-
3 months to draft all that material together for the next.
I don't, and again, I would say something my takeaway to Meg would be to make sure that a project sheet that for the FY26 plan, because I'm not really sure when the deadline is for Orange.
Like you would do with Durham and Wake. Like
Right,
you're doing
like they
Durham,
probably
like you're
did it with
clear what you're doing, so.
I assume they probably did. I haven't looked at the Durham project sheet, to be honest with
So just to recap, the amendment, so the amendment that, the item number,
For a,
4A2 is only moving forward with the Hillsborough Park and Ride and the PHEV. The bus stop operator will come back later, is an annual.
yeah, well, once we can clarify that, it's already been reviewed for public comment, so whether we decide to take an action this group or the next, we've already had the public comment period.
Yeah.
So we can circle that back and, you know, I'm not concerned about the mechanics getting in place. One of the 3 project descriptions are clear and they follow the breakdown, but pre-negotiated breakdowns of them. I'll make that motion.
Go ahead, Doug.
I'll make the motion that we move forward with the Hillsborough Park and Ride and Go Triangle PHEV operations support and recommend to Orange County and Go Triangle work plan amendments.
I'll second.
Second by, motion by Matt, Doug, and second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone online? Any comments, questions? Hearing none, passes unanimously, and we'll put the packet together, send it to the Board of County Commission for approval of those 2 items.
you. Just an order of transparency, I'm planning to go to the Go Triangle Audit and Finance Committee. Possibly to.
Yeah, it could be, so it's a committee thing, that's not the.
It's gonna be the committee and.
You will have the Board of Action before.
Right, and then it'll be up to the board to consent, but to Doug's point, if we need to adjust, we could.
Do you know when that meeting is?
Yes, I did. Honestly, I gotta talk to you about it. I believe
Just
it's
tell me.
November 6th.
November 6th.
Yeah, they make it, they don't have the actual time yet. It's a block right now because it's for, meetings.
I will block the effort.
I'm going to change sharing my screen to go with the next item. Because those that are here have hard copies of it, and this is in preparation for the FY26 annual work program. Give me 1 second. Okay. In front of you, in the hard copies is the FY20 current annual work program. Y'all probably seen these tables. In the annual work program, that's the operating and capital. Along with the summary that goes to whatever the changes are. I believe these are the project sheets that are needed for the FY26 annual work program. I don't think there's any changes to these. if there are new project sheets would need to be created. I sent an email out to everybody, and I think Meg has helped me identify what are the changes necessary, like project sponsor change, scope change, cost change, things like that. So if we can get your project sheets together for these related things, we can start drafting the annual, the 426 annual work program. And also in your packet is an example of a project sheet for both the operating and capital. These are the templates that we'll agree to several, at the beginning of, when we drafted the FY25 work program. One is for the capital, the other is for operating. As you can see, the only real difference is the capital has scheduling, phasing and stuff like that, versus operating doesn't. Yeah, Orange County is happy to help project sponsors put these things together if you all need it. I think you already have, the majority of these sheets already out there in the current work program, so we can use those if there's any changes. Happy to discuss, put together a workshop with the Durham County. Anything y'all that work with Durham, put together a little workshop necessary for organizing and finalizing these projects. Happy to be here to get everybody together and support y'all's effort. And I think we have 3 months to draft the annual work program.
If I could also say, one thing, I don't know if everybody could hear me on, online right now, so I'll try to talk a little louder. But, so, yeah, to Nish's point, I mean, he went through it very eloquently of what is needed. The one thing I would, remind everybody, so Priscilla Gilchrist, who's actually on this call, she, is with the, tax district administration. And what she's doing very similar to what was done in the past. Any sheet that is just 2.5% increase, we are taking last year's and we're rolling it forward to this year. So what that means is obviously all the partners need to review the sheet she puts in to make sure that scope hasn't changed, dollar amounts make sense, because she's literally just taken, it was $100,000 this year, FY25. 102.5 this year. She's just creating that sheet. Any new sheet that has scope change more than 2.5%. So for example, just because I'm looking right at you, Caroline, if the cost per hour goes up 6%, new sheets are expected. So, and then Priscilla's gonna be putting together that consolidated package that's on the SharePoint that shows everybody's sheets. And that's what, Nish and Kelly and the group here in Orange is going to use together to consolidate stuff. So again, that's something that Priscilla's in the process of doing now. She will take the new sheets, put them with the one she rolled over. So we have a full balcony view picture. But at some point, I got to look at the timeline. I'm not sure the date, maybe Nish, you guys know. But at some point, she will send that out so everybody has some time to review to make sure nothing is missed.
And I think we have a meeting on schedule for finalizing these project sheets later before we put them into the packet here for drafting. So we have time.
I'm sorry, I must have lost focus for a minute. Say that the existing sheets or existing projects will be on the SharePoint file, so we can determine if they're sufficient to just roll over or.
If it's an existing operating, so again, an existing capital that was say approved in FY 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, there is no sheet that's needed. That just kind of rolls over. But if, for example, if Carrboro or whoever, Chapel Hill puts in a new sheet for, East-West BRT, again, just kind of going right there, Caroline. If they put on a brand new sheet for a brand new project, that would be needed. But any capital that was previously approved, a sheet is not needed.
But if you're changing the scope of that
Yes.
capital, if you're changing the schedule or the call or
Right.
anything that's in the outline of the bullet point that I sent out earlier, those changes, that requires a new project sheet,
Yes.
even if it's the same project.
Right.
The sheet needs to be updated.
About projects. So I guess where I was going was because we did our sheet. 2018 or 19, I was wondering if you might share the sheet that you have. So that I can enhance it rather than start from scratch, because the sheets have changed a little bit. And I don't want to kind of reinvent the wheel.
We could look if we have that, honestly, the MPO, I'm not gonna put Doug because it was pre-Doug. a lot of those sheets went to, obviously, Aaron Kane at the time, so we could look, let me know which project, so if it's Greensboro or whatnot. We could look for that sheet and see if we could find it. If not, we probably have enough information, I guess, to at least assist, like,
If we have the whole archive, we can update those properties, but yeah.
If I said, well, our tendency in cover is to just overwrite, and so I don't want to write, 2 paragraphs, or when everybody else is writing 3 sentences, so just having a sense of how you kids are filling out the forms these days, I think for me would be really helpful.
I think I have the old ones I'll find and upload those to the project SharePoint, share that way you can see the old, I think the yellow, the colors were a bit of yellow and other things, and Caroline had provided me some earlier when we first started taking over.
But I think an important point though, Nish, correct me if I'm wrong, that I'm not sure if we were very clear with when the actual due dates are. Obviously, Tina, if you need to whip something up, that's fine. But I believe the goal was to have all the project sheets in on Friday, that does pass, right?
Yeah,
So it would be obviously.
draft, this is a draft version, we will spend the next couple of months to finalize it because they need to be done by December.
Yes.
So it's a priority.
Yes. So, okay.
Yeah, well, so because we also put in the project, the other 2 counties knew that we were communicating a lot of this already, like in Durham and Wake. And that's why I sent out that email last week. Hey, good day. So, yeah, there wasn't.
Okay.
And like I said, we're also happy to put together a workshop, to get everybody together if y'all need to finalize the project piece and revise and clean them up. So we're happy to do that. I think Darren did that earlier, and so we're happy to do that here in Orange County too.
But I believe it's supposed to come out of the governance study that was done with some sort of process to review the project and, figure out the status. And I think the idea was that if things aren't progressing, we need to figure out why. Where is that built process?
I think trying to go tackle that earlier, when we try to do the quarterly reports or the biannual reports.
So, that's something, well, actually, so that the county is supposed to, with obviously the agreement, there's supposed to be a milestone that's associated, just the way, and we want to be very separate. Obviously, Wake is a different process than Durham, different process than Orange. Durham, for example, the staff working group administration created like a kind of a one-sheeter that they want from milestones, twice a year. So part of the, guidance from the bylaws was a semi-annual review. I will say that on the tax district side, we still will do that quarterly stoplight. And next month is gonna be the month we do the financial reporting based on actuals, at least the end of the year. So that is included. I think that also gives a good opportunity as we present, if something pops out. You will see what has been spent by a project. So you'll see that if something is, project X or Hillsborough, the one that is changing sponsor as part of, the 800,000 for the amendment, for example, somebody might say, oh, wait, why was nothing spent? That would be a good opportunity to say, why was nothing spent? But in regards to a specific process, honestly, that I think falls on the staff working group administrator
We need to work on
to
it.
come up with what that process is. But in the minimum, we could do it as the quarterly reports do.
Ideally, right, like this would be the time when we're preparing new project sheets or revised project sheets or doing tweaks in the same projects, that we would take a look at these things as the staff working group, because we do ultimately make that recommendation, right, for the funding on an annual basis that continues on.
So would you,
Would be benefits of the dashboard. Individual project.
we would need to create a dashboard kind of thing that you need, correct me if I'm, let me make sure I understand. Are you talking about putting together a reporting process of here's the status of these projects here and preparing the draft of the annual program and policy?
Draft of the FY 26 work program, essentially the funding.
Yeah.
Right, like, I don't think what we've done in the past, but what I think that has been encouraged by the governance study and some of the work that came out of that was that this group should do some like, due diligence, I think, to ensure that the projects that are included are the ones that we should continue funding, that makes most sense.
And they're progressing and they're updating
Yeah.
and deciding to do.
I think like, when we're putting together the next year's work program, that would be the point when that makes the most sense.
So can I just make a recommendation, maybe? And I gotta look at the finance schedule. I was actually just looking at it this morning. I don't remember the exact, oh, maybe this is in August. Yeah, so maybe what we do at the Q3 financial presentation, which comes around the June staff working week. Maybe that is a time, maybe we should actually take that meeting and make the sole purpose, for lack of a better word, like just a rundown on, at that point, we should have actuals through at least Q3 on the capital projects, maybe in the operating, but have just an open discussion of just going through the projects and just saying, as at least till we get a process going, a checkpoint saying, doesn't make sense, doesn't make sense, doesn't make sense. And to your point, Caroline, it gives enough time in advance to understand if money could be possibly reutilized. Not to say people will lose money. If you already put money down, you have a consultant, but at least it would be that level set to say, these are the projects that we want to review. Here is actuals through FY 20X Q3. This is what has been spent.
And it allows these project managers to go through their process of the project and give a quick status of these things rather than having to crunch right now.
Look at some of those things that we knew that we wanted to fund, but couldn't in the past, where, maybe priorities have changed, or like, I just think, again, like, this isn't to like penalize people if like they're not moving quickly. It's more like, do the priorities from these past plans that we, sort of just continually rolled over without really like taking the time to look at them. Still make sense, or there are other things that we could, promote, prioritize, like obviously just, round truthing the finances sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, like, just making sure that we're using what we have to the, the best way we can.
Or when project X is no longer valid, but project B is, there's another project.
Go Triangle, they were like Go Triangle's doing with light.
Yeah.
They realizing that it's minimal, so it just can't get out of
Yeah.
the plan.
Or other projects that, like, rather than doing amendments all the time, so we want to move this project, it's no longer an issue, but this other project that came up on the horizon is more of an important thing.
Also, volatile, right? It's gone up and down, it's just, I think like, we should take at least one meeting a year, I would think, to like talk through some of this as like the group who makes this recommendation, and like.
Would we want to talk through capital and operating, or just focus on capital?
Well, there are like cost changes associated with that, like, and I just think we should be prepared to accommodate this if we need to, or, it just seems, like instead of these like on the fly amendments, I mean, eventually it would be nice to have some sort of way to, prioritize projects that were, funding, right? Like, there needs to be that. Like,
Right.
but, how to like a justification for the distance.
We'll follow back up on the process to determine what's a good way, like later in the next year, rather than having a crunch right now. Right now, the focus would be in cleaning up these project sheets and drafting the work forward.
Yeah, but let's not lose sight of the June. I think that's something.
Oh, absolutely.
As US staff work with administration should kind of just flag.
It's a big down on my list to follow with that.
Back to the two important matters, what is the new, we're gonna have a new deadline, I guess, as most of us missed it. Do you think that you can produce some of those old sheets, or should we move forward without them?
We have them. We just, simply upload them to the SWG. We have them. They're not going anywhere. So we're.
It sounds like, it sounds like Nish has a good idea where they are. We'll look back to at some point in like a day or two.
Our schedule's not changing. It's just a matter of, we have the next 2 months.
But I guess for Tina's point, anybody who has not submitted a project sheet, it sounds like Go Triangle might have, I haven't looked actually.
Those triangles should be done for Arlington, Durham. But now, this conversation we just had. Yeah, Jay said it was already in the 25-day work program.
Yeah.
If we want in Orange to mimic Durham's, then we'll have to submit this Orange project sheet by 20 days for that. But other than that, I think they should be in there, ready to go. But we have the advantage of working in Durham as well, and do that deadline and just apply it.
And I'm not sure if Nish, if you're just at the 2.5%, nothing's changing, then no sheet would need to be, or.
Yeah, cost per hour, so I guess gotta review the cost per hour. I think last year we separated our three services to different cost per hour.
So it sounds like to Tina's point, when would a goal be to have everybody where, I guess the county could do a sweep of all the project sheets? Would it be next Friday? Does that give you enough time to produce? Obviously, we need to run the models. Priscilla needs to obviously incorporate all that. I forgot when the goal of Priscilla having that final, Priscilla's on, I'm not sure if she remembers.
Final project sheets are due December 20th.
Well, but that's, yeah. That's final.
Final, but in terms of, draft project sheets are due December 6th.
That I think,
December 6th is the draft, this is the approved schedule that you approved in June.
well, no, but that's probably, so the December 6th, I would think would be the final that Priscilla puts together that has all the returning that everybody validated and would have all the new sheets. That's probably December 6th. So obviously, we need to know what projects are there. And we need to be able to have time to consolidate it. And Priscilla needs some time before December 6th to send out to Caroline, to you, to everybody, say, make sure this all looks
Yeah,
good.
that's why I said I'm happy to put together a workshop in November, if y'all need to get together and try to start getting to that point of having a full draft, whatever it's
I
said.
don't think that leaves
No.
people have put together time.
Yeah, so how about next Friday, the 25th? Any of the outstanding new project sheets should be in the SharePoint. I don't mean to just kind of make a schedule as we go, but that's kind of what's going on.
So all of our project sheets are in here. We even have the 26th, crossed out O&M, and get them. It would have been required based on the list of items that are required for, but it's like you will have a cost per hour adjustment at some point.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you know, the names are that, like,
That's it.
yeah, I just have to get closer to.
So
October 25th.
October 25th, the goal would be for Nish and the tax, or the county and the tax district to be able to go to SharePoint. Say, these are 100% of all the new projects for,
The carryover to the other previous project and then the
Well,
new
yeah.
project.
well, no, not to carry over to the other project, because with the capital, there's no need for that. But just any new project, like what Go Triangle submitted. And that would be by the 25th. And then I have to look at the schedule, but I think the goal would probably be around November. I would say somewhere mid-November. Let's call it and Priscilla, I hope you're listening. I would say probably around the 8th or so would be the goal to send out to everybody a consolidated file that says, here's everybody's consistent 2.5 projects. And here's everybody's
New project.
new projects. It'll also be uploaded in the SharePoint. So Caroline, you'll be able to go look at Chapel Hills, make sure that nothing looks bad, it looks different. And then obviously Priscilla will give a week or two for people to turn it around. Then the goal would be December 6th. That is the final, which we start. I'm holding up the financial part. That's the stuff that we would start working on all this. So that's December 6th.
So you're not recreating the wheel, we're just simply passing the wheel along.
And we'll try between Nish and tax district, between staff working group and tax district, we'll try to communicate a little more on timelines so people aren't blindsided. But first checkpoint is next Friday, try to have all the project sheets completed.
This might be a dumb question.
At this point.
So we have a project that we are wanting to submit, but we don't need funding until like 27 or 28. Is it too early to put
It
that
is.
in?
It's it's in the vision plan, the transit plan itself is already programmed, the plan itself, the annual program is when you're getting the money that year, are you getting the money that
Not,
year?
not for this stuff.
Yeah.
It's good. Feel free to share so people understand and know. And like Nish said, part of the vision plan. It's always good to know in advance, but yeah, this is just, that's the beauty of the way the transit plans are set up. We have a vision plan, which is a couple of years in advance, but then we do these annual work program, which just focuses on.
I'll share it during the longer updates then.
Okay, perfect.
So if we don't have any requests and we don't have anything that's above the 2.5 different. You know.
Oh, that's good.
Well, wait a minute, so unless we move money into it.
Yeah. that's-
Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the word new, like,
Sorry. new
Another
work
project
fee.
or another, yeah, another.
Right.
The only,
Oh, you mean for like, or
Yeah.
the project is program.
yeah, yeah.
the only.
Not to get access to money.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The only takeaway I would say on that one for you specifically is just, we have debt payments as of FY 28 from what Travis gave us previously for your BRTI. So I just need to know.
Yeah, like, let's just firm up that timeline, because I'm not entirely sure, but I don't wanna like hold that funding up. if we
Yeah.
don't have to, right? Like,
Yeah.
same with actually some of the other funding that's allocated to us, because we didn't know that we'd be getting the $8 million project development grant for this, from FTA, which like it's we would use for the things we would have used this funding for, right? With the exception of right away for this.
Exactly.
Yeah, but let's talk about timing, like more generally, because I think that will be helpful just to everyone as we see what's available in the earlier years.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I had in that item, so we'll follow up again on the 25th, then preparation for the next step or group meeting. Then,
Yes, because it's you or trying to who finds those forms and he puts some.
we make sure it's in the system, they just bunch it together. Yeah,
I'm not checking. Portal every 2 hours.
Come on, that's fun. Be like the click, like then you're ordering a ticket to a concert, just hitting the wheel.
There's something about- The Paul Black. A project sheet for a variety of projects. And the project was, like me, very frustrating to him. And I think there's a very long history as to how we got to the project sheet that we have. But he actually spent a little bit of time just creating the project sheet, using database for it. And we're probably gonna bring it around to folks and share and maybe talk about potential update for next year.
better simplify our work and make it a little bit more efficient.
Like much more, like you go through the project sheets now and I do this because I'll sit like with Jay and we'll run through them and I'm like, well, what about this? And he said, well, this is in this section over here. I'm like, well, it needs to be here. He's like, I know, but they ask about it down here. I'm like, what I want to know about it.
4 pages.
So, yeah, exactly. So we're all over the place trying to get to what is a single description, really. That also has justification or all of this. And so it's kind of a fine sort of.
It's not intuitive.
No, exactly. And so we'll get there and we'll have Paul bring it out and share and talk about the possibility of trying to do it through county overhaul on that with the idea of it being, also easily digestible by the public. So we don't have to have people transcribing information from a project sheet to another.
The other difficulty was transcribing, when we did the annual work program itself, publishing the annual work program, it wasn't the full project, we got in the work
Yeah.
program, we split out pieces of it.
Yeah, and so that whole thing, we could get rid of it. We could make them something that people can generally understand on their own.
Took me forever to track what that-
So anyway, he spent a couple hours doing that. We'll come back and talk about it.
uh,
Sorry to feedback real quick on that, thank you for some, but I think the things to me that were challenging when I tried to do this last year is one, if the project's in the plan, then why are you asking if it relates to the plan? Because if it didn't relate to the plan, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't have been selected, included in the plan. But I think for the older projects, the older capital projects, the timeline of the project, for whatever reason, goes beyond what's available. Spreadsheet. So for example, I had some projects, just because of the nature of them, they predated the beginning of the sheet, and so then I was like, So I talk about how much money is still left in the kitty versus how much was original. And I was spending all this time doing all these calculations, none of which were probably useful at the end. But trying to be accurate, so to your point, kind of simple subject.
So one of the challenges, so I agree 100% Tina, but one of the challenges that was discussed a couple of years ago is, again, as tax district administration, and we work, obviously, we're not the prime of it, but we work with the administrators of staff working with TPAC. Because we're responsible for everything, we try to keep things as consistent as possible. So what Orange might not use, for example, Wade does. So, for example, Orange, that whole process that I talked about with Priscilla, how she redoes every sheet, they don't do that in Wade. They do that in Durham. So the question is maybe do we have a separate sheet that's more streamlined for Orange and Durham?
You also have accountability, you're also
Right.
auditing an
Right,
account, and the
right.
district administrator, they have a lot more responsibility.
So the conversation at the time was, is it easier just to do NA or keep the box? Because I do think, to Meg's point, the ultimate goal was to kind of almost do like an access or some kind of database where you could just kind of throw it all in and it just kind of populates. I did have a similar conversation with Paul Black about that. I think that's an excellent idea. Maybe there's even a way where we could work with someone to kind of streamline that. It sounds like Paul has something built already, but even maybe work with some kind of consultant or someone to really make it where it's really very thorough and polished, not to say that Paul's isn't.
Yeah, no, it would be help. It would
Right,
help.
but-
You have like visual.
But the question is, and we've already had conversations, because he was having scope questions on if there's projects that already could meet that scope to fund that, or would that be something that, you know, if Go Triangle is gonna be the lead, if it's the administrators, if it's tax district, you know, is that something that we would need to then say to all three of the groups? All three would have to agree to do that, and then theoretically, is that a amendment, or that's something that could kind of fit into something already, so.
What happens in Wake? Because I think that the three should be generally stated.
Yeah, so Wake County sheet is very similar, but Campo runs it. So tax district creates the sheet in collaboration with Campo. And what Orange County does is they do a big pickup on it. And I'm not really sure their whole process. I actually am not sure if their staff member actually goes line by line to put it in, or if they have a database, kind of what I explained.
Why don't we, for the 26th, 27th?
Yes,
We're on it then, right now.
Right.
That's
Well,
what
no, we need to start working
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it now.
yeah.
To have it ready for a year from now.
Yes.
So if the group desires, as Meg said, I'll work with Paul Black.
We'll stick to what we have right now in terms of drafting the annual current
Right.
work program draft.
And then Doug will work
For
with the
next year.
staff, work with group administrator to try to roll
Yeah.
something out next year.
And,
Yeah.
and I would expect that there would be a work program amendment that would support that, and then, you know, the three that would have, what they call it, two packages, like three county, for instance.
Yeah.
Group should all be in support of it.
Right.
Everybody's like.
Yeah. Let's not put too much on people's plate, like.
I know, no, I know.
This, you were just bragging.
I know, what is this?
I'll give you an update.
Well, you did say you don't know about
He wasn't gonna have anything to do. So we're helping you.
Thank you. That was gonna be the next item. If everybody's good with this item.
Yes.
So just to recap, the new project season, a new development for the next work program, we'll meet together later. Right now, we're trying to Orange County work on finalizing the draft for the October 25th. Updates on public engagement, last night, the Board of County Commissioners approved Orange County Short Range Transit Plan. The BGMPO approved the Short Range Transit Plan, the County State Ready School Plan, and USA Multimodal Corridor Study, which was approved back in May of earlier this year. CPRPO endorsed them. So those are a lot of public things we've been doing now. Stantec, when we were with Stantec to do the county's bike ped plan, giving that up to y'all. Then y'all know in the public engagement, we'll work with community engagement to translate all the documents now that we're drafting and get them published and updating all the update I have for our community public engagement.
Nish, I have heard that, there potentially could be some changes about the level of involvement in the triangle with some of the engagements, making the website, that sort of thing. Is that in discussion already, or?
I don't think we discussed it with together.
So I can tell you what the triangle's doing, but it doesn't impact orange right now. So those triangles is proposing to remove itself from doing wake transit plan funded, wake transit plan supported engagement. Convent marketing, this is a unique role that we play in wake. We don't do this elsewhere. But in doing that, we will be maintaining budget and staff to support engagement for both triangle projects funded through the training plan, and that is consistent with what we had in Durham and Orange, and will continue at that level. In Orange is 0.5 to support these initiatives for both. Big example for the coming year, well, the past year, like on the fair, and all of our short transit plan work, blah, blah, blah. Coming year would be, airport marketing and engagement for any of our service changes, continued engagement for GoPath, fair, marketing campaign for the airport services, which of course is very for some of the other services under the transit plan. But so that's what that's all about. So, but that won't impact Orange at all.
Okay, I think it's still something that makes it.
However, outside of my world is this website stuff that our comms department does. And one of the things that I've mentioned to them, and I think would be really good, is to have like a website work group across 3 counties and our internal staff to figure out what's going on with websites, period. Because there seems to be, like, with the move from the MPO to the counties, there's a difference in how that work gets done now from how it used to get done. And it seems like some of it may be redundant, some of it may be made in law, and then it's a different situation with WIC, where they've now created like another website that they use for just their vision plan. It all needs to be looked at and discussed and evaluated.
Yeah.
But that's separate from this other thing I just mentioned, which I've been working on, but so something needs to be done. But that would be like a lengthy, because that's part of the issue, so.
Just a point of clarification, are you saying that's because they're trying to do those things for Orange County?
No, when the MPO was the staff working with administrator, the MPO did majority of the public engagement stuff and both.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're
I'm
trying
figure out,
to do a
like,
bunch of that with all of the counties and whatnot, but I don't think.
I guess, let me clarify my question. I'm trying to figure out what the triangle's role is in like other people's budgets.
Do they have to go forward website, which I don't think that was as used on, I don't know, I can't see the website, yeah.
All right,
That's
I
why I
just,
was like,
I'm hearing your, I'm trying to understand what the goal, like, will work with the.
Well, there's no time to maintain the both forward website, because every site is using it one, like, you don't have to have for a lot of things. And then it also works collectively, BPA in particular, on sharing information and whatnot. But then when it went to the counties,
When it went to the
They have
county,
changed.
when it went to the county, when county became administrator, we created our own website. We created a staff work group website and our stuff that kept everybody updated on the staff work group since we took over last June.
Okay.
And we've been trying to graduate improvements to that, but there's no connection to both Triangle or the MPO. And I think we need to get together a work group to help to connect all these things together.
so it was.
We're not gonna do Durham's either.
And the MPO staff took the Go Triangle staff to kind of organically, like, oh, here, we'll do this, you do that. But that's never been revisited, and that went to the county, and I think we just need to understand who's doing what and how.
And a lot of the work the NPO has done, not on our .org website, but the public involvement in communication, transplant, actually on the city and county shared platform there.
Yeah.
So that did.
So here we go, another complexity. Yeah, I forgot about that, right?
It's when the transit plan was done, the separate website itself, when the transit plan was done, they had a, did you know, use a separate website?
I guess. I'm having a hard time figuring out which one, like which is doing what, like, I hear that we're talking about, like, you're talking about general public engagement type stuff, like, and then we're talking about staff working group stuff, which I do feel like has like more of a, connected, needed, right, to like some sort of shared platform. I think I'm just trying to figure out like why there would need to be a connection for things that aren't part of like the transit, the tax administration.
Because they're for projects funded by that. But that is the nexus for, originally for doing that, because if you're developing a project that the transit plan is funding.
But they're not funded by their tax, they're funded by the tax district.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, so it's just funding another element of the project. But for that sort of, just like you might fund planners. Plan the project.
Sure, but again, like, I feel like you're talking about Go Triangle project, like engagement for Go Triangle project, yeah, or something different?
Both. Both, and the whole website thing, I don't know how that you could, I don't know the history, I don't know how they're all, interface and but I think there are people that know all that and they need to have a conversation.
Yeah, it just seems confusing to me.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Overlap.
Yeah.
It's like expensive, like if Orange County has a project, like, I don't know why Go Triangle would be like putting that on their website.
I think it's like public engagement to get more people involved.
That's different than sharing.
That's
We all do
sharing.
that, yeah. You don't need a website.
Right.
Like,
No.
Or public announcements and notices.
but we don't do that, right? Like, I think I'm trying to figure out like, like, why there would be a role for Go Triangle. It sounds like there wasn't that, maybe I just don't understand it.
I think there's a line item in there's a line item in the transit plan administration marketing and
Yeah,
public
that's-
engagement, there's also in the tax district as well.
Yeah, so I can't answer why that started, but you have to remember that Code Triangle was basically did everything. Except, so that might be how that started. In Wake, there is a long list of tasks associated, but a very robust budget and level of staffing that goes with that.
Right, sure.
But yeah, so that all needs, there needs to be conversation around the website in particular.
Of course.
So we'll even make that a separate
Yeah.
coordinating meeting. And then again, I don't know that the MPO has a role.
No, you
other
can.
than to be a-
You're on, yeah, you're on.
Well, it's almost done. But I think that just knowing that the coordination is happening. is
Yeah.
our interest.
And historically, even though because of staff turnover historically, you might not know much more, but maybe people have access to files or whatever that others don't. I have no idea, but you definitely need to be part of the conversation. But it's not even like these are completely different people.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like trying to untangle it, but it sounds like there's a legacy
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
We'll get forward to that June meeting.
Yeah. All right, Stephen, you've got 5 minutes or less for your financial report.
That's fine. We don't have anything crazy on the financial side. Next month, we're gonna do, results, for Q1. The other thing, like, Nick said, just to reiterate, this next Friday, make sure everything is due. The final thing I do want to let the group know, I'm not sure how many people are in the know of this, but, one thing that was discovered a couple of months ago was that, the vehicle rental tax, which is no longer attributable to, well, it's really based on, the Go Triangle Board, if they want to contribute to, the transit plans, they would take a 50% of the vehicle rental tax, and then based on a calculation, that 50 cents would be split over Durham, Orange, and Wake. In FY 25, there was conversations, that item is actually in mediation with Wake County, so, I have no update on that. But part of the takeaway of that was Go Triangle was gonna contribute an amount to Wake, Durham and Orange. The Orange share was $399,900, something along those lines. I could let you know that the tax district administration in September 30th reached out to Go Triangle Finance and requested the funding. So Go Triangle Finance actually took the fund from their general fund, that 399,000 and change, and transferred it into the Orange County Transit Fund. So the actual cash transfer has been done. Next month, as part of the Q1 process of review, I'll actually include a couple of pieces of paper that literally shows the money coming out of transparency coming into the Orange account. So just wanted to make that comment. Telling TPAC, I did tell TPAC that last week, and I'm gonna be talking about that in Durham, but I want everybody to have peace of mind that the physical cash transfer has occurred.
Right, so they went to general fund,
Yeah.
the fund balance.
Yeah, it was not in the budget, so just so everybody knows, the long story, because I have 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in the 5 minutes. But so Durham and Orange were approved part of the June board meeting. Wake was approved as part of the August, that monies was included in Wake's actual adopted work program. But what Durham and Orange did, and I think we came here last month or 2 months ago, was an amendment to add that in. So yes,
Before approved it.
Yes.
Recommend approval.
so we just amended the board. Go Triangle's board approved it, I think, on the 28th. By the 29th, I requested it. By the second or probably first or second, it was in.
It was on consent on our board council.
Yeah, 300,000.
Oh, by the way,
Buy some website.
be sure you get your first quarter reimbursements in, because I think the deadline is the 31st of October.
Yes,
So
yes.
put in your reimbursement request.
And that's gotta include your,
First quarter
and
reimbursement.
that's gotta include the operating agreement.
Yes,
So
Your operating agreements can be in, because you cannot get your reimbursement until your operating agreements are in.
yes. If you do not have your, thank you, Doug. I'm not sure. I would reach out to Holly Stott.
They're done.
Okay, reach out to Holly
If there's
Stott.
anything we needed to sign, send a DocuSign.
Yeah.
We don't have to.
But we're happy to, if you need any, I know we have ours, so make sure.
I would recommend reaching out to Holly Stott, who's the Go Triangle legal person. I will say Priscilla is also on the call. She's been actually working on consolidating a list internally for tax district, just so we understand who's outstanding. Because the point is exactly what Doug said. You could give us the reimbursements, but if the agreement is not signed, a penny can't come out.
So,
A penny maybe.
and if anybody did send something hard copy to Go Triangle and it needs my signature, just
Yeah.
scan it out.
Okay, perfect. That's good to know.
Or I guess I could walk across the street.
We'll have, Doug's inviting us, he doesn't want me to walk across the street. Notice he wants to come.
We have a coffee service.
Oh, okay. There you go. What's your plans tomorrow? I got a nice 3-hour gap. I'm gonna be, I'll be there tomorrow and I have a 3-hour gap.
Wait a minute, just that time to work.
It's, our offices are y'all's office.
All right.
All right.
That June meeting for Caroline could be done at the staff work, at the NPO. Imagine.
Well, thank you for that update, Steve, and keeping it at 5 minutes. Project sponsors, Chapel Hill.
I don't think we have any major updates right now. Things continue, with, BRT. Thanks to everyone who's participated, in all of the various enterprises that we have ongoing with that funding, planning, design, engineering. It's been a lot, but we definitely have a lot of support and we appreciate that. So we're kind of just trying to close that final funding gap. Yeah, we're getting ready. I'm finalizing the scope for our short-range transit plans. We'll spend that money. It's exciting. And then Doug, I've been working with your staff on the scope for the high-capacity corridor study. So lots to do over the next year. Keep y'all in the loop and involved.
Well, Dish has already volunteered himself.
Yeah, you need help out there.
Oh, I missed that. Great. Okay, yeah. I'll find
I got things are getting off my plate, so I'm happy to help.
All your plans are done now about.
I got bike ped plan coming up, that's in one, stuff that we can done.
And it's time to start updating the multi-year vision plan again. So we'll be coordinating.
I know, we're waiting for short range transit plans, because we want everybody to be. I want to jump the gun, really. Tell you that earlier.
Yeah, and we're gonna, our short range transit plan, we have a, like, other things. I mean, we're basically updating our 2020 plan that was never fully implemented. COVID, but we have funding from FTA for a micro transit feasibility study for a small neighborhood.
Do you have a schedule for the short range transit plan update?
No, I'm getting there, the next 18 months, hopefully closer to 12, but you know.
Or we'll revisit with discuss again.
Yeah.
As part of your work, North-South BRT.
Yeah.
We have a funding request in for division.
Yeah.
There was a tentative funding assignment in regional impact. Can you schedule a meeting, please, or just with, your project team, and we can look and see where there might be a potential intersection with that regional impact one? Because if there's something imminent, NCDOT may want to program that funding in the first part of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've had options for a regional service.
No, I'm thinking of like where it would intersect those stations.
Yeah.
We could potentially say would be eligible for that bucket of funding, and that might carve out some money.
I see.
So taking the division project to a regional fund.
No, there's a regional award.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there may be components of that regional award that could be applied to North-South BRT because it would be where those projects intersect.
There may be one in your.
Particularly if it might be one of those intersections that has like, I don't know, steam lines underneath them. Because that's gonna be a very expensive intersection. Very expensive station.
Okay. Yeah,
That's my thought.
yeah, good idea.
That might help us drill down or maybe free up additional money to add to the thing that cut back.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good option, and I will put something out for you, Chad.
Great thing, you know, not sure like delegate, see, it's just.
Yeah. Hustling, we're trying to get all the trees we can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so the short range transit plan will have the micro transit feasibility study for the Rochester neighborhood. Then we're also gonna do our, onboard customer survey, which we have not done since pre-COVID. We're gonna roll that in there, and then we're also gonna do a staffing assessment, like a peer comparison of the, based on where I should do that first. Yeah, so we're a little understaffed, and it's hard to demonstrate the need, like, we're a small town, but we operate a system that takes many trips to the city like Durham. So,
It's hard to choose a hard way.
yeah. That's it. All I got.
So is the Rogers Road not supporting the fixed route, or is it just that fixed route?
We have it. The idea is that we would try to bring, like, better connect that neighborhood to the NSBRT through like a.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. Like, we have the HS. It's,
Yeah, yeah, no, I
you
know
know,
that, yeah.
It's,
Oh, that's great.
it's okay. It's not the best, but like, and there's a whole bunch of new, like, potential new development, I guess, on Green Track and, St. Paul's Village over there, so. Just thinking about something different. There's some grant funding for that, so. If it's actually feasible or not.
That's always good to just test proof of concept and best solution. Mebane, what's going on with you guys?
I think you all heard at the last meeting that Lake Transit is now starting mapping. And then we are also updating our comprehensive land development plans in the mapping area. It's great.
Great, and if there's anything we can do to help it work out, is it on any the city website? Take a look, thank you. Hillsborough.
A couple updates. So the train station, this might sound familiar. Our construction plans are complete. We are awaiting approval of our PE agreement with North Carolina Railroad still, to be able to submit those. So we're, ready and waiting. It's been a theme for quite a while. Ridge Walk, so we completed a round 2 feasibility study that resulted in some potential alignment adjustments that will substantially reduce the cost and make the project more feasible. And also reduce additional involvement of North Carolina Railroad as much as possible, which also makes the project more feasible. So that's the subject of the future work plan funding request. Now that we've got a plan that the board has supported, has been incorporated in our comprehensive sustainability plan. We're ready to start advancing that into other funding opportunities. And then last, there was a pedestrian fatality a few weeks ago on US 70. It was a teenager. We'll have a work session with our board week after next to talk about potential pedestrian safety improvements while we wait for funding for the potential US 70 multimodal transportation plan. So there may be some more near-term requests related to stopgap pedestrian improvements.
And I talked to Stephanie about that, trying to get that area, reduce speed limit and little administrative improvements that can be done right now. I started to pursue them and I'll follow up with DOT and others to try to get that done. I believe, because it was submitted and that's for spot 7 DOT doing an express design for for that whole corridor, multimodal corridor. So I think they're going to be scheduling meetings going forward and looking
28
points to decide, at least to get a updated cost for any improvements and stuff like that. So we'll be working with DOT to address that. That fatality has been a big news and it's been an issue, and hopefully we'll try to get some small improvements done until the bigger project.
Is it a high traffic crossing?
Yes, I mean, this was not at a crossing. This was an impaired driver went off the road and hit somebody walking on the side of the road. There was no sidewalk.
Yeah.
In the middle of the afternoon.
We can't control behavior, we just do something to do about it.
That's all it takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we can do. Great, thank you, Carver.
After the last time, I mean, we're still moving along. Several projects that kind of go in plateaus, so we have a surge of activity and things are happening behind the scenes, so we're the scenes.
We'll appreciate everybody checking in. Our next meeting is November 20th. Right before the holiday. So unless anybody has any other items, let's adjourn.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, everyone.
What to do with fleet anymore?
No.
We did a separate department.